of Love Marlene 411, and welcome to today's podcast and discussion. Welcome to the Sip and Chat. This channel, Love Marlene 411, was made for a focus on the love we have for ourselves, your kids, your spouse, significant other people in our life, your friends, relatives, any human that you encounter, because when we learn to love ourselves in the best way possible, then we can do right by others. We can treat others with love when our cup is full. So, today we're going to be talking about a very important topic. By the way, today is episode 50 of the Sip and Chat. I cannot believe it. Hi, Tamika. Hi, James Money. How are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you guys being here. Happy Thursday. How was your day, everybody? If you could please hit the like, I'd really appreciate it. I want to talk today about the self destructive nature of harboring resentment. You guys get your drink, whatever it is that you're sipping on, because this is the sip and chat. So, and then let's get into it. The self-destructive nature of harboring resentment. Listen, we can think we are hurting other people by being angry, holding a grudge. I know I did that for many, many years. Holding a grudge, feeling like that person wronged me. They did this to me. And we're all in our emotions, right? We're in our emotions and what they did to us. And I can't believe it. Me, all the time, right? But at the same time, when we feel that we're getting back at other people by being upset, by being angry, who is the only one that really is harmed in this? Us. See, we harm ourselves in so many ways. We harm ourselves physically, we harm ourselves emotionally. And if you have children or a spouse or significant other, we harm them as well. We hurt others when we're not at our best. When we don't heal physically, financially, whatever, we're upset about something that somebody did to us. We're angered because this person did X, Y, and Z to us. Now, I'm not going to come on here and say, like, as an excuse, oh, when other people do things, you should just forgive everybody and let it go. No, that's not what I mean. I mean to not let what other people do to us stop us from having our peace, to stop us from having our joy, to stop us from being able to get into things. So, this is the first thing I want to talk about, everybody. When people do things to us that's rude, nasty, destructive, we feel that we're getting back at them. Oh, I'm going to give them the silent treatment. I'm going to ignore them. I'm not going to answer their calls. When we stuff things inside of ourselves, not deal, I don't want to deal with it. Like you push it to the back of your closet or you push it to the back of your mind and you tell yourself, I don't want to talk about these things. And we think that we are hurting other people when the only ones that get hurt is ourselves. And I'm speaking this from experience. Your blood pressure goes up, you're very emotional, you don't sleep well, and this is just a few of the signs of harboring this resentment, of holding in our anger and dealing with it. We think that we're hurting other people by not talking about things, but in harboring resentment, the only ones we hurt is ourselves. So, with all of that being said, what are you guys sipping on? What are you sippers sipping on for today's topic and discussion? So let's talk a little bit about resentment, okay? Resentment and how it can creep in and take a hold of us. Hey, Floric, how are you doing? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Thursday. Welcome, welcome. If you could hit the like, I'd really appreciate that as well. So, resentment, it can take a hold of us if we're not careful. The key to, letting go of resentment is allowing ourselves to unpack all of our complex emotions and learning how to express them. I'm going to start right there. That's more complicated than it seems for us to be able to express and unpack, peeling back the layers of what we've been through, what we're going through. That's difficult because sometimes when things happen to us, we don't even know exactly how we feel about it yet, much less to express it. So I would say that as the first thing is for us to first find out how you feel. you know a lot of us, I know, I grew up in, here's Miss Nexie, let's welcome her to the sip and chat. Miss Nexie.
Hello, Miss Marlene. How are you?
I'm good.
Wonderful. Let's see how this one goes. My internet has been acting up.
Oh, oh no. well but whatever it is, we're gonna push through it. So welcome to episode 50, Miss Nexie. Uh-oh.
What was that, Miss Marlene? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I was saying
I'm telling you.
I was saying welcome to episode 50.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The clock is
The
ticking.
clock is ticking. Next week will be 51, and the week after, in 2 weeks, we're going to have our 1 year celebration of the Sip and Chat. I cannot believe it. I'm turned up. I'm excited about it. And
I hope. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
what I'm most excited about.
Don't say it. You'll regret it if you say it.
No, I'm not going to regret it. I'm going to feel really good when I say it. My excitement is for the big reveal.
You're gonna get a picture of a seal in your
If
in
I
your
if you come on here with a seal, I'm gonna be so angry.
Oh my God. How are you
Yes.
today, Miss Cat? How
Hi
are
everybody in the chat. Hey Realist, hey Flirk, hey James, hey
Oh, Fleur,
Tamika.
James Money, and hi, Tamika. How are you?
Welcome everybody. So Miss Nexie, today we're talking about the self-destructive nature of harboring resentment. Mm,
Oof, it's a
Well,
mouthful.
let's do this. Let me tell you this, Miss Nexie. I can hold a grudge. I don't know about you, Miss Nexie, but I can hold a grudge with the best of them. I used to, if you could win an award for holding a grudge, I would win. You know, I would win. Yeah, I
I
would win.
I
I would win.
I
Hmm.
I cannot hold a grudge. I don't know if I can call it because I'm not. Let's see. I can be upset at someone, but I'll get over it.
Hmm.
I don't hold a grudge on anyone, even if they have done, horrible things to me. And I have proven that to myself because sometimes I say, you know what, that's it. From now on, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be like that. And then I see them, and it's like, okay, you know what? It doesn't matter. I can't,
Yeah, you can't.
but
Mm-hmm.
I don't give second chances. And I think that is the reason why I don't hold grudges because I do not. That's how I compute it in my brain to
Hmm.
understand it because sometimes, my loved ones, my immediate family, and they will say, "Why do you continue to talk to this person? She has done
Mhm.
so much to you, or she has abandoned you, or she ignores you. Like, why do you continuously approach this person and always look for ways to please them, or are always in their orbit regardless of what they do to you?" And I only put up with certain things with people that are immediate family, that are close to me, and I give them.
Yeah. Mhm. 'Cause because it changes. Yeah. Mhm.
My heart. I don't care. Like, I don't, if it
Yeah, I
happens.
don't
I
care
mean, I feel
anymore.
bad, but yeah, I don't.
Hi,
But it
Tony.
takes a while.
Yeah, I
Hi,
I
Tony.
know. For me, I'm the type. I don't know, Miss Nexie. I think I'm a very complicated person. I'm the type of person that I love you until I don't. That's the only
I
way I
think,
can
my,
explain
but
it.
that's
Like
no.
I have
Actually
like
normal.
this.
That's good.
I think that I give people so I'm opposite than you, Miss Nexie. I give people a lot of chances until I'm just like I'm done. And then
You're out of
and it's never for me like something that they did something like a big deal. For me, it's like the most simple things because I'm that petty. I'll be like, "Oh my god, you left the cover off the orange juice." That's that's it. That's it. I can't
it.
take it anymore.
The accumulation of. But you know what? I have someone that will give you a run for your money.
Oh
My
no.
mother can hold a grudge.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
don't know, Miss Nexie. I'm very good at
Miss Marlene,
I'm
she
very
did
good
not.
at holding grudges. Very
Oh,
good.
wait. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. She did not speak to my father after they separated. She did not speak to that man for over 50 years. He
Oh,
passed away last year. Never spoke to him. It's never in the same room with him. I'm telling you, she'll give you a run for your money.
see, I think she has me beat. 50
Yes, she
years?
does. Yes, ma'am. He
Wow.
passed away, and they really, she never forgave, whatever happened between them. That's their story to tell, not mine. I know it, but
Mhm.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
just divulge it here. But whatever happened between them, her resentment towards him was is so huge that she never spoke to him, never
Okay.
had a kind
Mm.
word to say about him, never spoke to him, was never in the same room. If we had a party, if he was gonna attend the party, she's not going. I mean, it was a whole thing. So that person will give you a run for for
Yeah.
your
So
money.
so she so so
She
I think
wins.
what you're saying is that she never got over it.
Nope, but she wins, Miss Marlene.
Man, I wanted to be petty queen. I wanted to
No,
be
no, no,
petty queen. No, but I'm
no.
not petty queen.
No, not yet, not yet. Until you
Yeah.
can overpass those 50 years.
Yeah, I can't pass the 50 years. Okay, Miss Nexie. So let's talk a little bit about this. You know, when we feel that we've been mistreated, betrayed, or wronged unintentionally or sometimes intentionally, those actions can cause us to kind of develop some resentment for the person that has harmed us. You know, that's something that's only natural. But it gets worse when we allow these emotions to be pent up for months, weeks, years, sometimes decades, and it affects not only just the relationship with that person, but it affects other people who are in our life, your children, it could affect your job, it affects your family, it affects a lot of people when we have anger and resentment, some unresolved issues with other people. And I had to come to that space, Miss Nexty, because I got to a point where the anger that I had for a certain situation that happened to me, it started to become self-destructive. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you've never endured that and you don't know what it feels like, I'm telling you that I'm going to tell you some things what happened to me because I stopped sleeping. My hair started coming out in clumps because the
Mm-hmm.
amount of stress, because the situation consumed me, Miss Nexy. It consumed
Yes.
me. That's all I would think about from the time I woke up till the time I went to bed. And everybody was like, people who are in my life this again till they knew the story. Word.
They will run. They will run. And Miss Marlene, that's actually very, very truthful. It affects you in more ways
Mhm,
than you know when you're harboring that resentment. Um, and it's not just you, because it affects the relationships around
mhm.
you. Because those people that saw you coming, they were like, "Oh, we got to go."
Yeah, they're like, shoo. Oh, look at the time. Time to go home. Come on, kids.
which is what we which is what we used to do. Like, oh my gosh, here we go
I was
again
like,
with the
here they
dad
go.
song.
Yeah. Yeah. When Miss Nexie, when it was the old me before I, went to get therapy and talk about things that I went through in my life, I was that person. I was the person that everybody ran away from because I made it miserable to be around. Not because I was trying to, I wasn't trying to be mean or nasty to other people. But when we don't talk about what we're going through and what we're dealing with, we take it, you're having this anger and you're venting it towards the wrong people. Like, what
Yeah,
does your kids or who you're in a relationship with now have to deal with whoever you were maybe in a relationship in the past, or whatever the situation
yeah.
is?
Whoever wronged you, what do they have to do? And Miss Marlene, I think thank God that you got therapy and everything. And I'm a big advocate of that.
Mhm.
Therapy is something that, if you can have it in your lifetime, do it, because it's something
Mhm.
that is so helpful, for you, for the person to understand who you truly are, who you are. Sometimes we say, yeah, well, I have a best friend I can talk to. Yeah, but that best
Yeah.
friend is just your best friend. They don't
Mhm.
know how to help you cope with whatever it is that you're going on, or how to help you resolve those issues. A professional can do that for you.
Mhm.
And there's
I,
different kinds of therapies, right? But
mhm.
I'm going to tell you something that I feel that I probably was like you, but in the opposite way.
Okay.
And this is why and I feel that probably, may I don't know, but what I used to do a lot is, I was a people pleaser, right?
Mm.
Everybody had to be happy. I wanted everybody to get along. I wanted everything to be okay. I wanted everybody to love each other. I wanted the family to always be together, the extended
Mhm.
family, nieces, nephews, in-laws. And I was always trying to please people, regardless of how rude or how mean
Yep.
sometimes they were towards me, or those I love. So I was always trying to be that person. And not that I'm not a happy-go-lucky person, because I am. I'm a very,
Yeah.
calm, collected. I'm very happy all the time, unless you do something to me, then run, right? And I
Yeah.
mean something big that you do to me, something that hurts me, and it gets me, to the point of no return, which
Mhm.
is, it's only happened to me a handful of times in my life, in my lifetime. But I was that person. And I feel, when you said, your hair was falling, I feel that I was going through that, in the fact that I was
Mhm.
trying to please people. to make everybody happy. I was so consumed with I want the family to get along. I'm gonna call so and so and I'm gonna have a dinner. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna invite them to the next party. Why are they not speaking? I want us to have this huge, beautiful family that I've seen on movies, right? And I was so consumed on getting everybody together, everybody to get along, everybody to be happy, and us having our children enjoy extended family, get to know every. I was so consumed with that I was losing so much weight. My
Mm,
hair was very thin.
mm.
My skin, I was getting rashes in different places, especially when I was getting close to a an event that
You'd
I
have
had,
you would have a you would have a flare up.
Yeah, yeah, well,
Mhm,
we have a reaction from that. And um I was always thinking, oh, maybe I'm stressing out about this event. Once I started therapy, which is why I'm saying this, I I came to understand that I was overdoing
mhm.
and trying to make them not feel like I did all of my life growing up.
Yeah.
Unwanted, unloved, not by my father or my siblings, because, I cannot complain about that. Yeah, it might have been not the type of love that I probably needed because, we're the last of so many kids, right, Marlene? So we're
Mhm.
very attention seeking, but they
Yes.
loved
Very.
me. My father was very loving towards us. My siblings were very loving towards me. But I think that the one person that was missing in my life that was supposed to give me that extra reassurance, the fact that I didn't have. So I was trying like I did, like
Mhm,
I was nothing, like I meant nothing, like people didn't, growing up, I always felt so alone, so
mhm.
abandoned. And I didn't even know that that's what it was. So as I
You didn't
started
even
going through therapy,
realize. Mhm,
no, I didn't. Growing up, I didn't know what I was feeling, right? As I started therapy and I started, growing as a person, because that's what happens. There's this growth, and I think you can agree with me on this, Miss Marlene. There's this growth when you go through therapy of who you
mhm.
really truly are. That is an amazing finding. You are so happy because
Yeah.
you finally find who you are, because you're
Mhm.
so confused through life. So I was overcompensating
Yes.
with people, and I was overdoing everything. And if somebody, you know, talked to me in a weird way or whatever, I would just say, oh, never mind it. Just do this. Or, you know what? It's okay. Just, next time come, on time or whatever. I wouldn't, I was just trying to keep the peace on everything we did. But through
Yeah.
therapy, I came out of my shell. And
Mhm.
then I started putting everybody in their rightful place. As I started knowing that I was loved in the way that they were able to, because that's what I had to accept in my life. The people loved me to their capacity, not to what I wanted
Mhm.
them to, because they probably didn't have it in them,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So once I
Because
started,
oh, I'm sorry,
uh huh,
Miss
go ahead.
Maxie.
No, no, go ahead, Miss Marlene, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say that people can only love you where they're vibrating. So if a person does not possess certain things, or a person doesn't understand why that's important, because when I went through therapy, I learned that people cannot give you what they don't possess.
Mm-hmm,
So, no matter how much you try to break it down and explain to them, and you can tell them how important it is to you, if something does not have value with them, they're not going to be supportive and care about trying to give you that, because it's not important to them. So,
mm-hmm,
I had to learn that as well, that sometimes the things that we're wanting and asking for, we're asking for it from the wrong people. I had to learn within myself that there are certain things that I shouldn't be asking other people for. That's something that certain things I can only give myself. There's only certain things that I can get from my heavenly Father. There's only certain things I can get from whoever. I learned a readjustment into not having false expectations, like always expecting for like perfection from family and friends when nobody can be that besides you, Miss Nexty. But everybody else cannot give me
Can I be as perfect as
perfection.
Miss Nexie? I'm so glad you said that. I'm so happy. I'm overjoyed with that. Finally, you finally understood how perfect I am. I'm so overjoyed. I'm gonna cry. I think I'm gonna cry. She admitted it, y'all. She
I
admitted
admitted
it.
it because I was never going to hear the end of
It's
it for the next
all
50 years.
it's only the interwebs, people. She knows I'm perfect. She finally said it. No, and it's true. And through therapy, you get to, again. I will have, oh, Miss Marlene. I don't know if you ever had weird dreams that you don't remember, because I remember I will wake up drenched in sweat,
Hmm.
my heart racing, and I had no idea what the dream was about. To this day, I have no idea what the dreams were
Hmm.
about. But I will wake up like that. But what I wanted to say to you is that I started experiencing all these different health problems. I
Hmm.
started not being able to, my stomach will hurt. I will have this heartburn all over me. Every day, all throughout the day. Um,
Hmm.
then it became at nighttime too, that I couldn't sleep because I would have that feeling. And I will have, every time we were going to have an event, I will get like super hyper, right?
Hmm.
Every time we're going to do something here at home with the extended family, or with certain people, I will get this, over exuberant, like accelerated energy. And then I will crash at night. I was so tired, so overwhelmed from all of the energies of people. So
Hmm.
as I started experiencing all these health problems, I ended up in the ER 2 or 3 times with migraines that will blind me.
Oh.
And I had no idea why they were happening. I was like, oh, it's probably because I was we were exposed to the sun today. But I didn't. It doesn't matter. Maybe it was work. Maybe it was I was overworked. And I
Yep.
started as I started going through therapy, and the last migraine, I mean, the one that blinded me for like 8 hours, like I
Hmm.
couldn't see I couldn't open my eyes, I couldn't see anything, everything was black, and I ended up in the ER. They had to give me something, and good thing that we're like 5 to 7 minutes away from the house, because when they give me that medication, I have to go straight home, and because it will knock me out, right?
Hmm.
In order for the migraine to become less and less
Hmm.
painful. So I as I started therapy, I I started, since they tell you write everything down, write your thoughts, your whatever it is that you have, whatever you're doing, just to write it. Get journals, journal. I started writing them, and I started noticing that the huge migraine happened right after an event, and in between us
Oh.
being invited somewhere else to another family
Oh.
gathering.
Okay.
So I started noticing that every time something like that, we're going
Uh-oh.
my hair will start like getting really thin, and I was losing. Miss Marlene, it came to the point when I was 100, and I think the lowest I went, it was 108 or 109 pounds,
Ooh.
and I'm 5'4". I'm
Okay.
not tall, but I'm not short.
Hmm.
So it was like 108, and it was sickly. I looked like a skeleton. And people will
Hmm.
say, "Are you on drugs or something? Are you taking,
Hmm.
because you look really sick?" And I wasn't feeling sick. It was the fact that,
But you were mentally.
exactly, there you go, Miss Marlene. I wasn't sick per se, physically. I was mentally sick.
Mm.
as perfect as I am.
Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that. A lot of times, Miss Nexie, a lot of people don't understand that part, that there's many kinds of sicknesses that you can have. It's not always a physical, and like I learned when I was going through, the job that I have now, that there's a lot of illnesses that are invisible. People just don't
Mm-hmm.
understand, just because you could be looking at a person and you'd be like, there's nothing, I just saw them. But just because you're seeing them, you don't know that that person is in this crippling pain, but they've been going through
Mm-hmm.
this for so long that they just learn how to cope with it, you know?
Exactly,
So,
exactly. And I have, this. I have rheumatoid arthritis.
yes.
I have RA. It's one of the worst, the most painful conditions. One thing that my doctor said to me was, "You have it's cruel." It says the condition that you have, that a lot of people with RA have, because you are hurting inside all over your body, but because people
Mm,
cannot see it on the outside, there's no cuts, there's no bruising, there's no, you
hmm.
breaking a leg or an arm. People cannot sympathize with you, and they always chuckle it to, oh, okay, you know what, you're probably just want attention. Oh, you
Yeah.
know what, oh,
Oh,
there she comes
yeah.
again with
Oh,
those
here she
phantom
goes again.
pains,
Here she goes again.
always complaining. And yeah, and then he says it's a very cruel disease, and that on itself can be more, can show more
Hmm.
through all of this, Miss Marlene. When you're harboring, even though you think it's not resentment, because that's the one thing I wanted to say to you, that for me, I didn't think I was resenting anything. I thought I was over. I didn't need that person in my life. I grew up without her, and I was fine. There was no problem with me. When my therapist said, we need to talk about that because it's something that is had a huge impact on you, and I said, no, I'm fine. Look at me, come on, look at this perfection. There's no way I have missed, or I have any negative or feelings towards this person, or any positive feeling. It doesn't matter. And he started writing, and so I didn't know that all of that was affecting and was making my RA worse than it was supposed to be. It was debilitating me more and more, and more pain and more joints, and sometimes they will get so swollen I couldn't even move my arms sometimes. And that's the thing, is that when you harbor resentment, even if it's not something that is, it's hateful, right? It can be resentment for abandoning me. It can be resentment for not loving me that way I want you to. But you can harbor that so much that you're put back into, you're victimizing yourself all over again. You're hurting yourself all over again. So every time you see that person, you go back to that victim,
Um,
that pain.
Miss Nexie, I want to tell you about that, and talking about this, about, self-destructive. I don't know, there's no easy way to say it, but then to just say it. You all, of you who have been around me and my channel for a while, know about my very dark periods of time in my life. And when I was in that dark period of time in my life, like, you're going through stuff, but you don't understand, like Miss Nexie said, why are you so angry, why you're so sad, why you're crying all the time. You don't understand, but it's so much things that you've hidden and you've pushed to the back because for some reason or another, maybe you're not allowed to talk about it. Maybe in your culture, you don't talk about it, you hide it, and then it snowballs and more things keep happening in your life until one day you just have this like either you erupt and have a big blowout, or you do something that's very erratic. And that I am. And
Yes.
I was the one that did something very erratic, and I did something to try to
Mhm.
unalive myself. And everybody's like, "Oh, you just
So
was trying to
sorry.
get attention." I was like, no, I was trying to unalive. I was trying to unalive myself. That's what I was trying to do. What people don't understand is when this is hard to talk about, but when you get to such a low period of time in your life where you feel like nobody sees you and you feel like you're invisible to everybody else, and you don't
Mhm.
feel like you have a place where you feel loved and supported, I got to the space where I just said, then what's the purpose of me being here? Because for
You
me,
were
it
in
was
pain.
like, I'm not loved at home. I'm not loved at school. Like, if you're in, you have to have a place where you're accepted.
Yeah, you were in
And
pain.
coming from where I came from, it's not that my family or my relatives didn't love me. It's just that they never gave me the wings or the freedom to be myself. Like, there was no like,
Mhm.
oh, we love Marlene because Marlene does this. It was just
Mhm.
like Marlene's there. It was like I there was no identity within me. Like, there was no expression. I could never express what I was going through and dealing with. And if it's that way in your home environment, and then you go out in this world and let me tell you, this world is brutal. And I went to a school where I was bullied because of the way I looked. And back in the day, I grew up in that in a time where everybody was dressing. They're doing their own thing when it comes to dressing. I was wearing all these different colors, different patterns. I had my hair in the like three different colors. Like, I was in my own zone, in my own world, and I personally was happy within myself. But when you have other people, bullies in school, the teachers are bullies, you know, then it makes you start doubting yourself. And that's
Mhm.
not a good position to be in, because if you're not a person that has a lot of confidence, it can really take you down.
Oh yes. Oh
It
yes.
can it
Yes,
can
it sure can.
really take you down. And that's where I was. So,
And,
yeah.
that that period of time of yours, as you're going through school and going through all of this bullying, which I'm very, very sorry you had to go through that. I think that we all have at one point, and
Mhm.
it's painful. You can be bullied at work sometimes, but you're older. You went through it when you were a child.
Exactly.
So for you, I guess when the resentment crept in, it took hold of you so much that
Mhm.
is why you were reacting the way you were,
Yeah.
which is why what my therapist said to me. You're overcompensating, happy, but you have to understand that you cannot do that. Only you can make you
Yourself.
happy. Nobody can do that for you. And I like what realist says. I don't know if you saw that comment, Miss Marlene. A resentment is like a poison, and it's true. It's
Mhm.
like a poison.
Yeah.
It eventually, if you don't control it, if you don't take care of it in you, because nobody else can do it for you, it can literally unalive you, which is where the point where you were at.
And I know that this is going to sound so weird. And if you've never been to that deep, dark place in your life, you can't understand it. But I'm grateful that I have been through to that space, because when now that when I talk to people, counseling people, giving motivation to people, I don't have to read in a book about depression. I don't have to read in a
Hmm.
book about seasonal depression and feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt and all of those things. I know, cuz I was in that space for years. I
Hmm.
know what it feels like. So, you know how like some people they read it in a book.
Yes.
They read it
Hmm.
and they go, and they come on and they talk about it, but they've never experienced it. It's a completely different thing when you live that. When you live it, you
Exactly.
know what it feels. You know those emotions. You know that dark space, and that's why I speak so passionately about what I've been through, because while I have been through that, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed to speak about what I went through, because going through that helped me to learn to communicate. And it was one of the best gifts I have ever been given in my whole life. I learned my value when
Hmm.
I was 17 years old. It's a lot of things involved, way past the trying to unalive myself. It was a lot of things wrapped up in that. But at the same time, that was the first time in my life when I was forced to go through therapy. Oh, it was so annoying. And when I was in the hospital, and when you're underage, because I was 17 and not
Hmm.
18, they said I have to go to therapy and find out why X, Y, and Z. And time I was annoyed by it, because when you're young and you're a teenager, the last thing you want to do is communicate how you feel.
Yes.
But it's exact conversation and start talking about what I was going through from that age, I don't think I would have made it to my 18th birthday.
That is what I'm so happy. I'm so happy you didn't succeed with that.
Mhm.
I'm happy that you got a little bit of help
Yeah,
to get you
that was the
out of
first
that.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And that was very little because you were so young. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times when and I have noticed this with certain parents, when you bring up maybe you should think about taking your child to therapy. You say that to them in a clinical setting or a school setting or whatever setting, and they look at you like you're from outer space. They give you this look like, what's wrong with my child that I cannot
Yeah,
fix?
they're in
Right?
they're
I'm the
in
parent.
denial.
I always tell them, and I don't mean just send him or her, I mean you guys will benefit with the child.
Mhm.
Because what as parents, what we would like to have is cookie cutter kids. They're all the same. They all behave the same. They all think the same. They all feel the same. But we learned as we parent that our children, whether we have two or three or four, they're not the same. The first one might have been or is probably mellow, quiet, sweet, and everything docile. The middle child is probably a weird one, full of energy, always breaking the law. And the little one is withdrawal. So you have to understand that all of the children are different. So when I tell people this, sometimes I recommend, hey, maybe, or you should take this child, and first I say that to therapy, and they certain, um, not
Explicit,
everybody. Yeah, yeah, I didn't want
certain
to go there.
explicitive words come out.
Yes, but it's not everybody. There's certain people, backgrounds, certain,
Mhm.
I don't want to go there because I don't want to offend anyone,
certain
but
certain
cult
cultures.
I didn't want to say that, but yes, certain cultures that they look at you like you're crazy. They look at
Mhm.
you like, is there something wrong with? Are you saying my child is crazy? And I've had that said to me before. And I said, no. Or you're saying that we are crazy? That's why we are making him like this? And it's like, no, no, no. Okay, hold on. Stop, rewind. I haven't said any of those words that you put in my mouth. I'm saying that this child will benefit from all of you going so that you can learn how to communicate because all children are different, you know?
Yeah.
So they look at me
See,
like
see.
like it's an insult to them and
Mhm.
to their child that I'm saying that it can benefit from. And then, sometimes they report you because you said this, because you said that, or she was so rude. She said this about my child. And then they get corrected. You know, she said it because she feels you can benefit from it. There's nothing wrong with him or her. You just can benefit from these classes to have a better understanding of your child and your child of you.
Mhm.
But they make it a big deal, Miss Marlene, if you ever bring up,
Yep.
there's I'm not saying your child is crazy, something wrong. It's just that you can benefit from it, because sometimes
Mhm.
as parents we want to control, we want to shape, we want the best for them. That sometimes we lose our cool.
Mhm.
We
No.
want to do so much. We want them to be so much that we sometimes overburn them.
Yeah, but you know what it is? I think I don't think it's in a bad way. I don't think any parent wants to bring harm to their child, but I think it's an ego thing. Every parent
Yes.
wants to be like, "Don't tell me about my child. I know my child and nothing's
Mm.
wrong with my child and I see my child." But there's a lot of things that children will never tell their parents, and it's not because they're not a good parent, but because every kid, when they get to be a certain age, the parents lose, they go down in the I can't think of the word. They go down on this the scale of who's the most important. Like now at that time, the friends are more important, and don't, and not being embarrassed, those things are way more important than their parents.
Yeah, and it's true. Our friends become number one. I think
Hmm.
even throughout, part of our adulthood, our friends are, oh my God, my best friend is my best friend. As we start becoming parents ourselves and our kids start getting older, and we start seeing what we are doing to our parents,
Yeah.
or what we did, is when we start coming back and saying, wait, you know what? No, my parents should be number one. But, no, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do know
but
what you mean.
but yeah, resentment, it does so much. Like, again, for me, I didn't feel anger, Miss Marlene. And I wanted to go back a little bit on that, because I wasn't angry at that person. I wasn't enraged. I wasn't hateful towards her. I wasn't anything. I was
Mhm.
just sweet, nice, and overcompensating her for everything. I wanted that love. And my therapist said that is some form of resentment.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're showing her what she didn't do for you. In,
Uh,
in your Yeah.
Miss Next, I would also add to that that you were numb.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
Yes. Yes.
numb
Yes.
yourself. It's a way of self protective mechanism. That's how we
That
protect ourselves.
Yeah, and again, you know, I was over loving her,
Mm,
because in my mind, and again through therapy, you learn so much about you and why you do the things that you do, right?
mm,
But as I was going through it, I learned that what I was doing it is kind of a child that could have loved you so much, but you abandoned, you left, you this, even though I wasn't voicing it or feeling it that way,
mm,
overcompensating her with love and and following and trying to earn,
mhm,
and get that love from her. What I was doing is kind of saying, see what you missed out on because
mm.
you left me. Look what you missed. So he started pointing out those things. He didn't say it like that. I took it that way. I
Right.
realized that that's what I was doing. I was showing her how much I could have loved her, even though she
Oh,
didn't love me enough.
see,
And that is a form of resentment, a passive type of
it
resentment,
is.
but
Um,
it consumes you.
Miss Nexie, I'll you. This is very interesting because I did something, but in the opposite way. Because yours was for your mother because she was not there. Mine was I was upset because my mother was there. So I know it sounds strange, but
It's the same thing.
I was mad because my mother was there, but she treated me like I wasn't there. I don't
She was
I
there,
don't
but
know
she wasn't.
I don't know how to explain it, but it's like she was there physically, and yes,
Hmm.
she would do some mother things to me, but I mean, when it came to me, it was like I wasn't her boy, I wasn't her son, her big strong son that can do everything and knows everything. When I'm not going there
Yeah, we're
today,
not going there.
but
We're not.
but you know how it can be. And I've always said that's one thing that I've never liked within families, that there's a sibling rivalry and you don't even know it.
Mm.
Like they have you
Yep.
like against your
Each
siblings.
other. Yes.
Yeah, so that you can never get close to each other, so that they have the power to manipulate you. So that's one of the things. That's what I was dealing with my whole
Then,
childhood.
and it's true. I mean, it happens to you and I. We both are Caribbean.
Mhm.
We come from that kind of mentality. I'm sorry, I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah.
So move them away, people.
Yes.
Move them away. Get your steel toe boots on. No sandals
No
allowed.
sandals allowed at the sipping chat. Sorry, guys.
None. What my sisters and I made a pact
Mm,
that because and I was the one who realized this. I'm the youngest of the sisters, right? And the brothers. I'm the youngest of all of them, but of my sisters, I'm the youngest, you know. But I'm the one that they always come to whenever they need, when they have
yeah,
questions
and
or
you have
whatever for answers.
mhm. Yeah, Kurt. Mhm. Mm, mm.
Unkind, unloving. What we
Yes,
made
Miss
a pact
Nexie, I
on.
know what you're talking about. They
So
paint you
we
as the
made
bad
a
guy.
pact. Yes. So they were pinning.
Mhm.
And then I was the one thing that this person has never been able to do, and nobody actually has ever been able to do, is that I don't go by what your relationship with so and so is. Let's say in this case, you and Miss Gio
Mhm.
have a fallout. And you
Mhm.
tell me Gio did this, I'm not gonna resent Gio because of what she did to you. I'm gonna still
Mhm.
talk to Gio until she does that to me. Because I don't go, you know what I mean? Like whatever you guys
L-
had is between you two.
it's called having your own personal relationship with others.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
Mhm.
So I don't do that. If my mom, everything that she said, or my mom, or anybody, I'm sorry, I should not say just my mom, but anybody that gives me something, some beef from somebody else, I'll take it with a grain or a teaspoon of salt
Mhm.
because I don't know what happened. You're telling me your version of it. I wasn't there to witness it. So I
Mhm.
really don't know. Now, that person's going to give me their version of what happened. So I'm not gonna get in between you two because it's none of my business what happened between you
Yeah.
two.
I
Now,
don't,
if
nope,
you know,
not getting
you know what I
involved.
mean. Now, if Miss Gio will say, "Oh, Marlene is this, Marlene is that," I will put a stop to Miss Gio and say, "Listen, Miss Gio, I know that you're having a spat with her, but that's between the two of you. Please don't
Don't
disrespect
involve me.
Marlene in front of me.
Mhm.
I don't like that. I will say that to her because I've done it to other people. And if you will start saying something about Miss Gio, I will say, Marlene, no, please don't. I really like
Mhm.
Gio, and I don't like when you say things like that about her, right? So that's
Right.
the way you handle it as an adult. So what I started noticing is this reactions with my sisters, and my other sister too. She started like kind of distancing herself from me. One day I said, you know what? I need to go home. I need to go back home. I need to go fix this. And so I took receipts with me. And I mean physical and, the emotional ones. And I set my two sisters down and we talked. I was there back home for like 10 days. We cleared the air. My sister came once over here. My second sister, she came once over here, and she noticed who was the attacker,
Mhm.
right? Who was the aggressor? Who was the one that was doing this and not really me? So, as we came to the agreement that what was happening is that they wanted to divide us because we're so close, my sisters and I made a pact that if that person asks, "Have you spoke to so and so lately?" We said, "No, you know what? No, I haven't." Oh, okay. Well, she did this and that. Yeah, no, I haven't. So I'm really not sure what's going on with you. But anyway, so we changed the conversation. And if
Mhm.
that person, if she asked me, "Have you spoken to so and so or your other sister so and so?" No. What's going on? Well, this is that really. Oh, wow, that's nice. No, no, I haven't. Oh, it's been months, maybe years since the last time. When I say that, everything stops. The bad
Oh,
mouthing, she gets happy. So we made a
mm,
pact that we were not going to allow her to manipulate us anymore.
mm.
And we don't tell her if we speak to each other, if we are
Yeah, the
cahooting
things
with
that are
each
going
other,
on between
nothing.
you. Yeah.
Have you spoken to? No, not at all. Wow, it's been months. I just spoken to my sister about an hour ago, but we're not gonna say that because then the thing starts all over again. Oh, you talk. Well, at least she's talking to you. Oh, wow, at least she called you. Those things. So I I we try not to, and we don't allow her to get in between us anymore. And if I
Good.
hear something, I'll go straight to the source. Hey, this happen? But it's not in that way. Okay, what happened? This and that. Okay, I got it now. I go straight to the source. I don't believe. I have never been that type anyway, but I don't go like, maybe that happened. And then I go, no, 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 that didn't happen. Let me ask first, and then I'll make my own conclusions.
Right.
But so yeah, it is the best way because that on itself, Miss Marlene, creates a lot of resentment
It does.
towards the person that is doing that to you and towards the people around that are part of that. And it can
Exactly.
harm your health because you need your siblings. You need them. You guys grew up together. We grew up together. We need each other. We're the closest people that we can
Mhm.
have in our lives besides our parents.
Yep. You know, Miss Nixie, something my dad used to say all the time. Oh man, me and my siblings would fight, and my dad would be like, "Oh my goodness!" And one person can't step in the middle of when 7 or 8 kids are fighting at the same time. They can't. you know so he would just let us do whatever and get into our spot, and then we would be done. Then he would be like, go and hug your sister, go and hug your brother, and all of us would be like, yeah, okay, yeah,
I
whatever.
love you.
Yeah, I love
I
you,
love
yeah.
you.
We didn't mean it, but the whole thing about it is, I remember when my dad used to say, there's going to be a day and a time when dad's not going to be here and my mom's not going to be there and your mom's not going to be here, and we'd be like, stop talking like that. But little did I know that that was going to happen within the next 4 years,
Mhm.
from when, because, okay, it's a long story, but you know how you can be like a little kid when you have a get together as a family, even as an adult.
Mhm.
And it's like when we get back right back into it, the argument and stuff. And my dad says, "Didn't I tell you all you have is each other?" And we're
Mm.
all like, it's like, here
Oh,
he
there he
go.
goes.
Yeah, here he goes with this again. And then we would all be like, yeah, whatever. But I'm grateful that I heard that for years. It's not one time, 5 times, 10 times. I mean, I heard that probably hundreds of times. One day, all you're going to have is each other. And now that
It
that is the case, now
wasn't he
I'm
right?
like, yeah, I'm like, man, because no matter what, you could have people that you know of, you could have people that are quote unquote friends, but there's nobody that is going to step into the gap with you like your siblings. Well,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can't speak for everybody, but I mean like your family, because your friends can turn into your family. um
Yeah.
but nobody's going to step into the gap for you like people who truly love you. So if you
Mhm.
have those people in your life, don't treat them all any kind of way or come home and snapping off on them. And that's what I think my dad was trying to say. Don't let the stuff that's going on outside, at your job, with other people, things that happened in the past, whatever, you start taking it out on other people, instead of, simple things like, I had to learn when I went through therapy to be able to express myself. But Miss Nexie, I'm not a good person about talking about how I feel in the moments.
Mm.
I'm not good at that. I never have been. I'm the type of person, I'm very reflective. So when things happen and then I have to go home and stew over it for a few hours and go, ah, okay.
Mhm.
Now what I should have done is X, Y, and Z. And then I go back and I do what I need to do. So that's just the type of person I am. Everybody's
Yeah.
different. But I'm grateful for that, because I'm not a person that says things in the heat of the moment.
Neither do I.
I'm the type of person that when something happens and they're, oh yeah, 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 screaming, they're beat red, using all kinds of words, and I just go, like, my all my walls. I'm just, it's like, do you hear anything? I hear nothing, because I
Yeah.
shut down when I feel like I'm being personally attacked. So
Yeah.
one thing that I had to learn is to, when somebody says something to you, don't keep pushing that down, and like they do something and they do another thing, another thing, another thing, and then you got all of these things against this person. And then one day you like completely go crazy over something simple when you probably should have talked about, and I mean just you and them. I don't mean in front of your spouse or significant other, your children. I mean as an adult, hey, I need to talk to you, and then express how you feel.
Mhm.
Because simple things like that, it seems simple, but it's something that is so important for us to do. We have to talk about how we feel. How we feel is important and is vital to us not having resentment and anger. You can't sleep, you're restless, you're cranky, you start have headaches, and
Yeah.
studies have been shown now, Miss Nexie, that people are developing illnesses because
Very.
of things that they've been holding, these grudges they've been holding inside for years and
Yep.
years.
It turns into a tumor, cancer,
Mhm.
diabetes, all kinds of things that you didn't think a something like that should turn out of that resentment you've been holding for years. But another thing is, I'm the type of person, Miss Marlene. I'm not. I don't like to confront people. I'm not confrontational. Not at all. I'm not like that.
Mhm.
I don't think, and only because I don't feel that you can resolve anything by screaming matches. I look at people when
Mhm.
they're doing that. I'm like, is either one of them understanding what the other one wants? Because I don't
Mhm.
even know what they want, right? So I have not been. It's never been my cup of tea. But I go when somebody has, offended me in any way, insulted me, or yelled at me. I'm like you. I stew over. I think about it. I think about my answer because I'm gonna sit you down and I'm gonna give you my answer. And
Mhm.
people have asked me like, why do you do that? Like, I can't, girl. I'm gonna react. I'm gonna say. I said, no, not me, because
I
when I
can't.
sit you down, what I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to regret. Not one syllable of what comes out of my mouth. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about what you did, what I feel about you, and at that point, what I don't feel about you anymore, and how you're
Mhm.
going to treat me moving forward. And nothing of what I'm about to say to you when we sit down 2, 3 weeks, 3 days, 4 days, whatever, I'm not going to
Yeah.
regret. And that's the
Yeah.
reason why I hold back. Because when you,
Mhm.
in the heat of anger, you say things that you regret later on, and you're like,
Yes,
man, I
you
should
do.
have not said that. Man,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes you even react to certain people like, what? And they're like, oh, I just wanted to. And then you say, oh my God, why did I react like that to her? Like, oh, or to
Mhm.
him. It's like, I didn't mean it. Like, why did I? So I'm thinking, if just a what or what do you want does that to someone, imagine hurtful words coming out of your mouth. What will they do to their
Yeah.
heart and soul? So for me, it's better to just relax, and then, we can
Yeah.
talk now. Are you calm? Yeah, okay, sit down. We need to talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm the type of person when something happens, I may not tell you everything,
Again,
but
to
but
let go.
I huh?
I said I have learned through therapy to let go and
Mhm.
not have that resentment, even though, again, for me, it wasn't manifested in anger or hate or bitterness. No, I was manifesting all that in exuberant happiness. I wanted everybody to love me and everybody to be
You
loved and
wanted everybody to
everybody
be happy. Mhm.
everybody to be happy. I wanted things to be just perfect the way I wanted it. But again, that's again another form of maybe, hidden resentment that you have never been able to work on.
And also, Miss Nexty, that's also a level of being controlling. I had to learn
Hmm.
that too, and nobody likes to hear that word, that you're just controlling. And I was like, how am I controlling? Say, because you want to control how other people react to things. And if we think about it, it's true. We can't control how other people react. All we can control is our reaction. And something I wanted to, where it just disappeared off the screen. Oh, what I was sharing, that about resentment. There's not one specific cause of resentment, but it can be triggered by several things: being taken advantage of, being put down, dismissed, or ignored, feeling inadequate, overlooked, or unheard, having unrealistic expectations of others or the world around you, maintaining relationships with people who insist their needs are more important than your own, or having interactions with people who undermine your authority. So, those are some of the things that, like, when we think about resentment, it's usually one of those things that somebody has done to us that we're like, they've crossed the line and done something that, you know, either you have made a decision that I can't go back with them, or you've made a decision that we're going to have a conversation and they're going to have to make some quick, rapid changes, or I'm out. Hmm.
Yes, ma'am. Either one of them. But the thing is, uh, people sometimes don't want to admit that they are
Don't,
resentful, that they can sometimes do hateful
don't.
things, that they,
Mhm.
you know, they're not as perfect as I am. Sometimes people don't like to admit those things. And without having the ability to do that, that's when you create that resentment that you're talking about. Because we have to admit, hey,
Mhm.
I make mistakes. Hey, I'm not perfect. I mean, I've never heard those words coming out of my mouth for myself, but I've heard them on other people. and but you have to understand that dealing with your thoughts, putting them in writing, journaling, speaking them, even if it
Mhm.
is to yourself in the mirror. Yeah, I shouldn't be like this. I should have not done that. Oh, why am I keeping this inside? Through therapy, you learn all those tricks, right? Or just those little
Mhm.
gimmicks that you can do to psych yourself back up and say, hey, you know what? I'm making a mistake, and I'm gonna begin to resent this person. I'm gonna begin to harbor, weird negative feelings about this person. So we have to make sure that, or this job, this workplace, or this team that I'm working with right now. So we have to make sure that we can
True.
express that, even if it's just to ourselves, that we can put them in writing, we can express them and work on them, because nobody can do that for you but you.
But you. Mhm.
And creating, I had a job, Miss Marlene, that I wasn't happy in. And every day was a struggle for me to go. I had so many problems because the manager of the place had a couple of friends in there. And
Mhm.
the preference of the schedule would go towards those people. So, how do you tell me that I'm working 3 weekends out of the month and I only get one weekend off? I have kids. So I was going to this job every, I think, like 3 days out of the week. I was working in this environment for over a year. I wasn't
Mhm.
saying anything. I was just going along with the flow. What I was noticing is that
Understood.
every morning that I had to go to that place, my stomach will feel uneasy. I will get there and sit there, answer phones, help patients, do whatever I had to do sometimes, but I will do it with the drag, dragging myself through the
Yeah.
day. And tomorrow I have to go again. Oh my god. But I wasn't saying anything. So the fact that I wasn't protesting that I wasn't getting any weekends off, I was resenting the manager because I was thinking she was giving preference to her friends, and she probably was, right?
Mhm.
But when I started going through therapy, and I still was at this job, by the way, I she said, my therapist, he said, you need to talk to her. You need to clear the air, because
Express
that's what
yourself.
you're
Communicate.
thinking.
Mhm.
That's what you're thinking, but it doesn't mean that that's what she's doing. That's how you're perceiving it. And you're creating this environment in your head and in your body, and it's going to start, resenting you for not giving it an out. So, I finally spoke to her and I said, I feel like I don't get any weekends off and blah, blah, blah. And she said, oh my God, Nixie, I thought that you were okay with it. You didn't say anything. So, you're a great worker. And I thought, weekends, okay, she's available. So I'd rather have you than anybody else, because we work together very well.
Yeah, and you never said anything.
No, so I had for months go on with, she prefers her friends. I don't like her. Oh my God, she probably hates me. I don't know why she gives me all these weekends. And she's like, well, you didn't say anything. So I figure, oh, okay, okay, she probably likes working weekends with, like, I work on weekends, and
Mm.
then we have some of the weekdays off so that we can be with our kids. She said, so I was like, okay, you're a hard worker, we work well together, I like when we're here on the weekends because you and I get the our jobs done. We leave the workplace nice and neat, and we know what everything is, and we complement each other. She said, so when you didn't say anything about the weekends, I was ecstatic because you were working with me. I was thinking all kinds of other things, Miss Marlene,
No,
and
Miss Nixie.
building.
Miss
Uh-huh.
Nixie, you know what that's called? Oh, I hated this word when my therapist said it. We're creating a false narrative.
Yes, ma'am. And don't
Oh,
say
I
it because
hated
I
that.
don't
I
like
was
it
like,
either.
I hated that. I would cringe every time I heard false narrative because it's true. It's not true. It's something we make up and put in our own head, and we tell ourselves, and we are convinced this is what it is. And then when
Yeah.
somebody says, "But did you ask? Have you talked to them about?" Well, no. Well, they should know. And but and you know you'll put all the situations in, and then they do this and they do, but still, have you talked to them about it?
Didn't I
And
just tell you that they know about this? Should know. They should read my mind.
yes, they should, right?
Again, I don't like that word either.
Mhm.
It's the false. It's like, no, no, I was right at that moment, putting all
Yeah.
those thoughts. But I was making myself sick from
Mhm.
the.
From
I
everything.
don't want to say resentment because it wasn't that, but the uneasy, the feeling of rejection. I guess I felt rejected. I felt
Mm.
like I didn't fit in the place. That probably that's why she wanted me on the weekends because, other we had other type of patients on the weekends, and she probably didn't want me on the weekdays. I was putting all these things in my head
Mm.
when she said, "Oh
Wow.
no, it's because you and I we complement each other." And as I started looking through her eyes, it's true. The rooms were clean. We will look at everywhere to make sure that the drawers were
Yeah.
stocked with needles and everything we needed.
Mhm.
And yeah, I didn't have to tell her. She didn't have to tell me. As compared to the other ones when we used to work during the week that we had to, hey, don't forget to restock. Don't
Yeah.
forget to clean that room. So her and I, we didn't have to. So I made her weekends easier, and I didn't even realize that.
And here you go thinking she hates me.
Oh yeah, she doesn't like me. She prefers her friends. Maybe because she has
Hmm.
history with them, and I'm new, and I'm not. I'm Hispanic. I'm foreigner. I have an accent. I have this. I have all these things. I had a list, Miss Marlene. I think I have a
Mm.
journal with it too.
Wow.
I had a list of things, the reasons why she was doing that, and her not even knowing that I had this list. She's like, "Oh no, no, no! But if you want, I can give you weekends." And I looked at her and I felt so guilty. I felt so dumb, and I was getting myself so sick every
Mm.
day that I had to work there, thinking instead of speaking. I was just getting all this inside of
Speaking
me.
of how you
Yeah.
feel.
Hmm.
Hmm. Now, oh, Miss Nexie, this happened to me before, not when it came to a job, but a certain situation. See, there was certain people, and I would always be like, oh, they always leave me out and stuff, and this and that. But all this time, I'm thinking, oh, they just invite her and their friends. I had no idea they were family.
Oh.
So I'm thinking, oh, they always have this person, this, of course, the three of them were going to be together. They were cousins. And I'm thinking, oh, she always has her friends there.
She doesn't include me. She don't like me.
You don't include me. And then when I said it to her, she's like, are you kidding me? She's like, those are my cousins. We live in the same house. So we're usually always together. And I was like, oh,
And
oh,
again, if
oh.
you would have not said anything, that would have built that respect.
No, and I did, I said, I told her, I said, I almost was coming over here to say, I'm done with our friendship, not knowing that that's your cousins.
Yeah. And again, I was saying, and the same thing. It goes, when you're in a workplace, it's different because those are
Mhm.
not your family members, right? You have a little bit more of freedom to express yourself, per
Yeah,
se, because you can find another job. You cannot find another family.
yeah,
You got
you
to deal
can't.
with the one you got.
Yeah,
But
you
at a
can't.
workplace that it should have been easier for me to express and say and voice my likes and dislikes. I was at a point where, because I remember I have told you this before, I didn't have that voice. I will do what I was told. I will do,
Mhm.
yeah, sure, of course I can do it. And whenever I needed people, no, they could never help me. They were always busy. Oh, I don't have this. Oh my God, do
Miss
you really want to go
Miss
now?
Miss Nexie. Well, I'm going to interrupt you for a second because I know you and I are very similar when it comes to this. Now, I had to come to the space of maturity and not really wanting to accept it, but it's being honest with myself. Is it that people were not available and wouldn't do things for me, or is it that I wouldn't ask for help?
Ah.
When I came to that space, I was like, stupid therapist knows too much.
Oh, she thinks she's so smart.
I was like, oh, you think no, you think, but you don't know.
I
but it,
asked it in my mind. I asked them a lot of
yeah.
times in my mind. No, no,
See,
I
but
physically did ask.
oh, you
And
did. Okay.
oh yeah, I did physically. I used to give rides. Remember I told you? They would call me,
Mhm.
sure, no problem. An hour away from here. I'll take you. No big deal. You want me to give you gas
Mhm.
money? No, 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 no. No, you don't have to. No, go ahead. Oh, okay. Can you pick me up in like a couple of days? Sure. Sometimes it'll be in the
Mhm.
middle of family time. Can you do
Mhm.
me this? Can you do that for me? And I'll be okay, okay, okay. And when I had my car broke down, I had a car trouble, and I called one person first, and well, I don't have any gas right now. I said I can give you gas money. Oh, I mean, but you want me to do it right now? Yeah. Oh, because I'm not even like really awake yet. Oh, okay,
Mhm.
thank you. I call somebody else. Yeah, well, I could do it like in a couple of hours. I gotta be at work in an hour, right? And then the other one, it was like, no answer. And this
Mhm.
is pre-text era, right? Where you had to phone the person
Yeah. There's
and
no
no
texting. Yeah.
answer. And then she answered towards the end of the day. Oh yeah, you called me, right? And so once I got that, and I was like, okay, I'm always giving you guys rides. I'm always, if you don't have gas money, what do? You drive and come over and say, hey, do you have it? Can I borrow 20 bucks? Which I never saw again. Sure, no problem. I need it
Mhm.
for gas. Sure. My car is broke. I need to take it to the shop. Can you pick me up? Sure. But once I
Mhm.
started therapy and I started seeing that pattern, and I learned to say nope. Oh
Yep.
man, that was glorious. For me, I was saying it for everything.
You got your power back.
I got my power back. And I learned through therapy, Miss Marlene, that is not a sin, that is not a crime, and that you're
That
not
you're
gonna
not a bad
go
person.
you're not I'm not a bad person, and I'm not
Mhm.
gonna go where the little horn person lives
and
if I
I'm
say
you're not
no to
evil.
family. I'm not
Yeah.
evil. Yeah, and
And
I'm not gonna
and,
go
and
to
here's and here's
to
another one that
brimstone
they
and
do.
fire.
And this is another one that they do in Caribbean families. I can't say for American families, but Caribbean families, they love to say, "You've abandoned your family. Oh,
Yes.
who did we raise? Oh, we
Uh,
didn't know you were such a terrible human being." They're very good at the manipulative, controlling, making you feel guilty about and making you question your own self. Like,
your own sanity.
yeah, like what? I was like, wait a minute, did they just do a switcheroo on me? Wait a minute.
And but again, you are so um in tune with it. You're so programmed.
You're so used to it.
That's you're programmed. That is, it's
Mhm.
the family is first,
Yep.
extended and all,
Before
not
you.
just immediate, not just
No, your
immediate. No,
whole, the whole
your
family.
whole family. Cousin. Okay, so one time I had to pick up a cousin, sister, daughter, friend, cousin of I don't know who, like fifth generation down the line that we had
Mm,
never meet. I had never met, and I will never meet after that. But I was tasked or asked, but no, I was
mhm.
tasked with
Yeah,
picking this person up at the airport. And I'm like, how am I gonna know this person? Like,
yeah,
I don't need what conversation, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. How
and
are you
this
going to
is
even
like,
know?
and this is traffic hours. And so, but I said, yes, of course I do it. No
Mhm.
problem.
Mm.
Dinner for my kids. I couldn't even have dinner. I just left them the food and went to pick them up in the middle of traffic because you don't say no to family.
Yeah, you
But
never
as I
say
went
no.
through therapy, I went through therapy and I started, I learned that you're not a sinner, you're not a bad person, you're not evil, you're not disrespectful, because that's the biggest one that I had
Oh
to learn, that
yeah.
it's no disrespect
Yep.
if you say no to an uncle, cousin, sister, daughter, right?
Hmm. Yep.
It's no, you're not being
Especially your
disrespectful.
elders, especially the elders.
Yeah. That's another. Ooh, don't go. Ooh,
Oh
don't get me
yeah.
there. That you're not gonna. Nothing's gonna happen to you if you say no. I can't, or no. You know what? I learned through therapy too is to say no. It's not that I can't. It's that I don't want to.
Hmm.
I don't want to right now. I don't feel comfortable driving. To be
Hmm.
truthful of why you didn't want to do certain things, even if you hurt it the other person, but you have to be truthful. No, I can't right now. Giving excuses, no, because I hate when people do that to me.
Yeah.
So I'd rather say, you know what? I can, but I don't want to. I don't feel comfortable driving right now at night. Or, my eyesight's are not very well. And I'm really scared of driving and it's true. I'm not making that up. I don't like to drive at nighttime. It's weird
Hmm.
now that I'm older. So I'm honest, I'm brutally honest, and people don't like
Yeah.
it. But it's that
But
happened
that's what it is.
But as that happened through my life, Miss Marlene, I noticed that resentment that I had inside of me, even though it wasn't manifested, like I said before, in anger or in how can I put it, being vengeful or revengeful or anything like that. Even though it wasn't manifested that way, it was being manifested through over loving people and
Yeah.
overindulging people with all of me. As I
Oh.
learned that you have to work on that, or you're gonna overdo and people are gonna take advantage of you. As I
Oh,
started
Miss.
doing that, I started realizing that that person that I have been longing for to give me the love that I felt I deserved and I so want,
Mm.
I did at one point, but not
Yeah.
now. That was a
How you
beautiful thing.
changed. Yep.
And that was a beautiful thing for me. It was a beautiful day to realize I don't need it. I never actually have, because I'm healed now. I can say I never really needed that.
You
I
thought you
just,
did.
yes, I thought I did. But, and therapy helped me realize that what I was asking for, this person can never give me because she's not capable of.
Hmm. Yep. That's what that, and that's one of the things that I think is so important for us to learn as women, as men, and our maturity, being mature enough to know what what is good for us, what's not good for us, learning to speak up and communicate. And I feel like this right here is a good point to break, because I feel like I want to get into like I'm going to get into a second wind of talking about something else. So I think right now we're going to pause until next week. Miss Nexley, I'm thinking next week we're going to talk about like um some ways, like how you learned to do the no, how you learned to say
Oh yeah,
no. We're
I'll be
gonna
so happy.
I think that's a good episode for next week, so look forward to that. So thank you so much, Miss Nexie.
Oh, let me just say something really quick with the no
Sure.
thing. The first time I said no, I don't want to, my husband did a double turn. Did those words just come out of my mouth? My wife's mouth? He's like, "Did you just say no to her?" Oh my! And he hugged me. Oh my god! Oh my god! She knows how to say it all.
He was like, did you say it again, say it
He's
again.
like, because he did a double take. Like, what? And he looked at me. I was on the phone. I can, but I don't want to. Okay, okay, bye. And he's like, did you? Oh
Yeah,
my
watch.
God, he was
Woo!
so excited. But anyway, we'll talk about that next week. Thank you for
Yes.
having me, Miss Marlene. Chat,
Mhm.
everybody, thank you for coming and hanging out with Miss Marlene and myself. We
Yeah,
appreciate you all so very,
so
very much.
much. Yes. And the last thing that I want to say before we get out of here is make sure that you are taking some time every few months and doing an evaluation of yourself. Am I respecting myself? Are other people respecting me? Am I letting people cross lines and boundaries that I don't like? Or am I doing good? You got to check in and tap in to yourself and be honest. Am I doing what I need to do so that I'm treating myself the best way possible? Thank you so
Yes.
much, Miss Nexie. And
Thank you for having me, Miss Marlene. I'll see you next week,
thank
everybody.
see you guys next week. Next week is going to be week 51. Week
Ah,
51. Miss Nexie, you better put on, you get your rouge ready, your makeup, because 2 weeks, Miss Nexie. You can, Miss Nexie, 2 weeks.
you know, I have this kitten little nose that I bought for a Halloween. I think that's what I'm gonna put on next week. You guys see a little kitten on your on the screen.
Miss Nexie, if you put on a mask, I'm gonna scream.
No, no, no. It's just a nose. It's just a little kitten nose. You know, it has a plastic nose and it has a little whiskers. I think that's what I'm gonna come on. No, I'm
No,
just kidding.
Miss Nexie is supposed to be doing a face reveal
A
on
face off. No,
week 52. So that's in 2 weeks, not next week,
we're
the week after.
we're thinking about it. I'm gonna show up as a Smurfette. Uh, you'll see. You'll see what I come up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come off of here because I'm gonna have to talk to Miss Nexie about this now. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Bye, Miss
Thank you for
Marlene.
tuning in. And those who are watching in the replay, make sure you leave me a comment. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Like and subscribe.
Yes.